Hey everyone, it's Miss Fulmer here. I'm here to do some Algebra 3 notes with you. Looks like this is how we're going to be doing class for a little while at least. So yeah, we're going to take notes just the same way you would take notes if we were in the classroom, except you don't have a document of guided notes. I would suggest getting a sheet of notebook paper and a pencil to take notes along with me. You obviously don't have to do that, but it's going to help a lot. It's going to help you remember what we're doing, and then it's also going to help to have those notes right in front of you as you're working on your assignment. So we are going to look back at something that we've already covered, actually, just because it's something that I feel like we didn't really grasp everything that we should have when we went through it earlier in the year. And it's something that is very important if you're going to take college algebra, which Algebra 3 is supposed to be a class that prepares you for college algebra. So I wanted to look back at solving systems of equations. So that's what we're going to look at this week. Oh, I'm writing on an iPad, and I'm not very good at it, so don't judge me. Okay, so we're going to look first at systems of equations that have two variables, just an x and a y, before we look at three variables, x, y, and z. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, so if you remember, there's a couple different ways to solve systems of equations. The first one we're going to look at is solving by substitution. So this is when you solve one of the equations, solve one equation for either one of the variables. And then substitute that value into the other equation. Wow, that handwriting is something else. Sorry about that. Okay, let's look at an example. This will be example 1. And we want to solve the system we have 3x plus 2y equals 16, and 7x plus y equals 19. That's a terrible bracket. Better, but still not great. Okay, so you can choose the x or the y in either one of these equations to solve for. I think solving for this y is going to be easiest just because the coefficient on that y is 1. That's usually going to be the easiest to solve for. So if we solve for y in that equation, 7x plus y equals 19, all we have to do is subtract 7x from both sides to get y equals 19 minus 7x. Okay, then we're going to look at the other equation, which is 3x plus 2y equals 16. And instead of y, we're actually going to plug in 19 minus 7x. Okay, so if we have 3x plus 2y, but instead of y, we're plugging in 19 minus 7x. equals 16. Then we're just going to solve this equation for x. So distribute the 2 here to get 3x plus 38 minus 14x equals 16. Combine like terms, 3 minus 14 gives us negative 11x plus 38 equals 16. I'm going to run out of room. Subtract 38 from both sides. We get negative 11x equals negative 22. Divide both sides by negative 11 to get x by itself. And we get x equals 2. Now we can use this equation that we already solved for y and just plug in 2 as our value of x. So y equals 19 minus 7 times 2. So y equals 19 minus 14, which equals 5. Okay, so we have an x value of 2, a y value of 5, and if you remember, we write our solutions to these systems of equations as an ordered pair. X variable, then y variable. So ordered pair 2, 5 is our answer for this one. All right, we're gonna look at the other method for solving systems of equations, and that would be elimination. I have to erase this whole thing. All right. Okay, so elimination. Okay, this method is where you manipulate one or both equations so that the coefficients of one variable are equal with opposite signs. Okay, so this is where you try to get it so that the x coefficients are the same number but opposite signs, so like negative 3x and positive 3x, or you can do it with a y variable, just whichever one is easier. And then you combine the equations. Okay, let's look at an example. So this would be example 2. And we have a system 4x plus 3y equals negative 2, and 8x minus 2y equals 12. There's our system of equations. Okay, so the first thing I notice is that the y variables, the y terms they already have opposite signs. One's positive and one's negative. So if we could just make the 3 and the 2 be the same number, then we would be set. Okay, so if we multiply this equation by 2. That would give us a positive 6y. And then we could multiply the second equation by 3. And that would give us negative 6y. So we'd have positive 6y and negative 6y, and then when we combine, they will cancel out. Okay, so that's going to give us 8x plus 6y equals negative 4. Don't forget you have to multiply every term in the equation by that number. And then the second equation would be 24x minus 6y equals 36. Then we're going to combine, that means add. So 8x plus 24x is 32x. The y's cancel, which is what we wanted. And negative 4 plus 36 is 32. Now we got rid of one variable so that we can find the value of the other one. So solve for x here by dividing both sides by 2. We get x equals 1. Okay, then you can go back into either one of the original equations and plug x equals 1 into that to find your value of y. So if we just use the first equation, 4x, but instead of x, we're plugging in 1 plus 3y equals negative 2. So that's 4 plus 3y equals negative 2. Subtract 4 from both sides, and we get 3y equals negative 6. And then divide both sides by 3 to get y equals negative 2. Okay, so our ordered pair solution is 1, negative 2. All right, that's it. That's as far as we're going for this week. And there's going to be some practice problems for you on Google Classroom, so make sure you check that. Work those on your own paper. Make sure that you show your work and write your answer as an ordered pair. And then when you're finished, take a picture of it and upload that picture to the assignment on Google Classroom. And we'll be set. I know it's not very much for a week of content, but I know that you guys are going to be maybe a little bit overwhelmed with your schoolwork this week, just as we're kind of getting started, trying to figure out this whole thing. So if it turns out that you guys can handle more next week, then we will figure that out. But for now, just to get us started, this is as far as we're going to go. And especially since it's something that we've already covered, hopefully it won't be too difficult for you. If you do have questions, shoot me an email. We can figure out a way to video chat or whatever we need to do in order to help you. So yeah, that's all I got. Stay safe. See you next week.